I'm coming up to an anniversary, which I must admit I can't say I'm particularly looking forward to. And that is in a few weeks' time, it would be 12 months since I lost my job. And it's been a hell of a roller coaster ride with my emotions and adapting to a new situation and pretty much a new life in many ways. Let's face it, I mean, we spend 8 hours a day, typically 5 days a week at work. So when that's taken away from you, it's actually quite a big change. But the one thing that still sits with me now, and in some ways it's actually grown over time, I don't think I felt it so much in the early days. I think primarily because I was in shock about losing my job. I really didn't really see it coming. But over time, and even now, 12 months in, there is a feeling that of being discarded. You know, I talked in my last video about the friends that you never had, the colleagues that you worked with. So this is kind of more of a broader picture about the feeling that when you have lost your job, when you have been pushed out of a company, particularly in my case, because I spent over 11 years with them, and I had seen them develop from a 60 people startup by the time I joined them to nearly 1,000 people when I was let go. So you feel very much a part of the infrastructure. You feel very much a part of the team in many ways. Although, as I've kind of mentioned in more recent videos, that perhaps the whole team thing wasn't so prevalent in the final years, perhaps. But you know, I would feel discarded. I still feel discarded after the hours that I put into that company, the late nights, the weekends, particularly in the earlier days. Because let's face it, when you have a startup company, that's what you're expected to do. You're meant to put the hours in. But then now I'll see postings on Facebook or Instagram from former colleagues, you know, that they've been taken at a quarterly event, a party celebrating the latest milestone. And then you realize again how quickly and easily it is to be discarded by an employer. And I keep going back to the old thing all the time. I mean, there's no loyalty anymore. And I don't feel bitter towards the people or even the company so much. It's kind of weird, but it's the fact that obviously you let go, but the company carries on, and I wish the company all the best in the future. I don't have any, like I said, any malice towards them. Perhaps about the way that it was done, the way that I was let go, that I may feel a bit of malice. I think it could have been handled better with regards to my performance, if they really felt that there was an issue with my performance. But the fact that they just went straight to a PIP, I think, indicates that there's probably more to it than just that. But it is this feeling of being discarded. And it sits difficultly hard at times. It really does, because it has a hit on your self-worth in many ways. It's not so much to your ego. I'm not an egotistic person, but definitely your self-worth. It hits you. And the fact that I'm still feeling it 12 months later, I think is significant in itself. Now, it's not that I haven't moved on, because in many ways I have moved on. I mean, I've got the channel. I'm working on some projects behind the scenes, which you'll find out more later. And I'm really trying to make this into a business. So I have moved on, but it does, like I said, it does hit your self-worth. But those are really only times of what I would call weakness, when I'm perhaps feeling sorry for myself, perhaps when something doesn't quite go as well as I planned, or it could be simply triggered by, like I said, a photograph on Instagram. And for me, I find it, it's important to remember that, your job, your career doesn't identify you. It's certainly one of the things that gives you your identity, but by no means is it the most important one. And I must say that what I have now, 12 months later, is a lot more fulfilling than I've had in my entire working career, I think. But that doesn't make it any easier being discarded. I guess it's kind of like being jilted by a girlfriend, being dumped by a girlfriend kind of thing. I don't know if I want to compare my former employer with a former girlfriend, but I guess it's a similar kind of thing. You take a hit and people move on. Hence my last video about being forgotten, the friends you never had. People move on. That's life. and a few of you have commented to that fact from the last video. So tell me about your experience. If you've lost your job, have you felt discarded at all? Leave a note in the comments below. And please subscribe and like the video if you feel you got value. And I'm going to leave a link up here to Monday's video. Nope, that was Thursday's video, sorry, where I talk about friendship, in case you missed it. Okay, until the next time, cheers.